Hello, my name's Matt Cameron, and welcome to Tracardi Office Hours number 10. Following, you'll find an extract from our most recent Office Hours where we talk about new release number 9 and provide a summary of where Tracardi's at currently. Enjoy. Also on the screen right now are some important links for you to read through and find out more about Tracardi with. Enjoy.
Stuff. I love seeing things that you can slide in it relatively, and I understand as well, open source doesn't mean free. Yep, doesn't mean free, right? Yep.
Yeah, but actually, when you think about open source, it's like always more affordable than commercial. Okay, so yeah, and this is where I actually see like a niche. Okay, there are like a lot of CDPs that are really expensive. There are very little open source solutions, and most of them are not where we are actually right now. So they do not deliver the value that I think is this threshold when you can start using it in a business.
Yeah.
And with Tracardi, what I would like to build with this project, I would like to build a composable CDP. It means whatever business you have, you should be able to incorporate Tracardi into it. So it's very open to integrations. So it's API first. So whatever you do in Tracardi, there's always an API. And there is an access to all the data streams that are inside that system. So you can even programmatically just connect to the data streams and do whatever you want with that. Even, the things that we didn't think are possible.
Yeah, interesting.
So this is how Tracardi is built. This is my mindset about this. And actually, what we have right now, we have what most data CDPs has. So we have like a data collection. We can collect all the data about the customers and have that in one place. We can merge the data from different channels, and we can orchestrate that through some APIs to some external systems. And on top of that, we and this is just a basic thing that the CDPs does. They collect data, they merge the data from different sources, so we have one single customer view with all the history of the interactions with the web page or some other systems, or you define how you see the customer, what data you would like to collect. So that like Tracardi is open to collecting data from websites, from external systems, from emails, through some queues that throw the data about the customers. So whatever you open, you can collect in Tracardi, and then you can merge it from if it comes from different sources. And this is the basic features of CDP. But on top of that, what we put automation. So because of course you can use automation like Zapier or other systems that are available, but they do not have access to the customer data. So we make the automation on top of a customer data. So I usually say that Tracardi has this feature of a Zapier that sits on the customer data, so you can with that information on customer, you can in real time interact with the customer, and this adds also additional features from the DXP systems that can personalize the page or even ask for additional information. So when I notice in the history of the customer that they've been seeking to contact with me, I can just show a pop-up on the page. Okay, would you like to contact us? Just leave us an email. So and this all happens real time. So this is basically how Tracardi works.
Sorry, in this conversation, there's assumed knowledge that anybody knows what CDP is. I don't know what CDP is. I've never put my hands on one. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I have an idea of what I think it might be, and this is, I think, one of the things is that unless you worked in, I'm making an assumption now, unless you worked in an enterprise environment where you've actually done a lot of data collection, put it all together, most businesses have got no idea what it actually is.
Yep.
Even CRM is even the same. Customer relationship management. What is that? Is it a contact list? Yeah. Until you've actually got one, you've got no idea.
So I think for small business, and big businesses have already solved a lot of this already with how they handle data. But for small business, you might want to bring what's happening on your website together, and you might want to look at your mail service provider. It might be a mail gun or whatever. Bring events in from there, and then you might want to look at Stripe and bring events in from there. And you're bringing all these things together, and you're able to sort of merge those together to create that view of the customer. Possibly the best thing we could do is actually do a show and tell, I think.
I will just make a short video, but before that, I would also to point one, what actually CDP, the main things that CDP should do. First, just collect the data, and then activate the customers. So once you have a bunch of customers in your platform, then you have to need a way to extract this data and move that data to some other system that could be a marketing automation, Facebook, Google, whatever, and then activate those customers so they come back to your website or do some purchases.
Yeah.
So Tracardi also does that, and I would just define CDP that this is a platform that gets the whole traffic that you have, just extracts meaningful data from that traffic and builds a customer together with all the events, all the history that person did. And then based on that, you have the activation, audiences and activations, we call it in Tracardi this way. And then you can just send that data outside to some other systems that will just activate the customers. So, okay, I'll share my screen. So, and I will just do a very brief non-technical presentation, and just show you the most important parts of Tracardi. Okay, Tracardi is a multi-tenant system. So basically, you can use and it's API first. So you can use the Tracardi API to interact with the system, but you may have multiple Tracardi instances, and can be installed in many places, and you can from a central graphical user interface connect to any of those Tracardi installations. So okay, so when you start, the system will look like this. This is like a dashboard, and it shows you if it's connected to the web page or some system, you will see all the online sessions. Actually, session in Tracardi is a visit, so somebody is interacting with your web page or with some of your system. You will also notice the last profiles, and Tracardi collects profiles even if they are anonymous. So when you go into the page, you will always get a profile ID, which will be saved in your browser, and then all the interactions with that page will be under one profile. And then you have also a live event streams that shows, okay, that this one is not connected, so the last event was 22 hours ago. And as I told you, everything is under one profile, so you always have the information about the profile. This is the data that you can collect. Actually, you can also collect custom data, which is under trades. You can have the information about the geolocation, some media used, some interest segments, preferences. This is the data you can collect. Everything is empty here because this profile is anonymous, and you can also has a history of each visit. So this is that the profile was created, and the profile added some added some product to the basket. These are events. You may use built-in events, so it's easier to configure the system, or you can have your own events with your own data. So how it works? When you start working with Tracardi, you have an inbound traffic. So this is the place where you can define from where you will be collecting data. To collect data, we have something called a bridge. A bridge is a technical way of collecting the data. The most common is just API, and I will use this one. Name it test, or maybe okay. For example, I would like to collect data from tracardi.com, and this is my website. I name it as a channel, and basically this is it. And from now on, you can start collecting data just by putting this script on every page, and then on the subsequent pages, putting what kind of events you would like to collect. So, for example, the most common event is just page view. So you put that one line on every page, but there could be like pages that indicate something. One can indicate that somebody viewed a product, then you can type here product viewed. In the properties, deliver the information what product was viewed by this customer. And there could be like product viewed, product purchased. There can be like, I don't know, somebody requested some warranty, filled some form and delivered some information. Later on, I will show you how I do it on my page, so to be more information how it can be used. So, and you can have like multiple different events being collected. This is up to you how deep the information you want in Tracardi.
So that's that identity is being carried across session by session or visit by visit by your first-party cookie on there, or you do
Yes.
things like browser fingerprint identification. Okay.
Oh, I do different. Technically, I do different things. Okay. If you use, for example, a JavaScript integration bridge, this one also uses fingerprinting, for example. Okay. So there are different ways, and you in that bridge, this is because as I told you, the Tracardi is we are concentrating on the ability to integrate that system with any ecosystem. Actually, we define some extension points. It means that the system is written this way that extending this bridge is very easy. With a few lines of code, you can add additional ways of collecting data. So, for example, Kafka is one part of the bridge that we've written from someone. Some email SMTP emails. So, for example, Tracardi can listen if there's an email coming. It can take it and just make an event out of it. Okay. So here, this is an extension point, and we can deliver different ways of getting the data and different ways of making the profile ID permanent. So that will be first cookie, or it could be fingerprinting, etc. So yes, and this is basically when you do that and put that script on your page, you automatically start receiving the events, and each event has a profile ID. Even if the person that visited the page visited for the first time, it will automatically create a profile ID, and under that profile, all the events will be saved. There's also a session ID. Session is actually like a stream of events that does not have an inactivity of 30 minutes. So if you stop doing anything on the page and you stopped for longer than 30 minutes, then and just come back, then the new session is created. So it indicates that this is like a new visit. And under each profile, we have this history. And based on the events deliver some data. Okay. And now you can define what data you are interested in, so you can copy this data from the event to the profile. So if somebody, for example, signed in, okay, they delivered an email, okay, and I would like this email to be copied to the profile. Okay, and we have like a special place to keep the email, and that can be done for the built-in events. Actually, system does it automatically. So when you use the sign-in event and you deliver an email, system will automatically copy this to the profile. But you can also have this event to profile mapping where you define for each event type. So, for example, sign in. You can define that for a sign-in, I would like to have an email in a profile, and let's say that this is my like a main email, to be equal to properties, and in the properties I have defined email. Okay, so this way, to profile. Okay, and this way I defined that for each event that is a sign-in event, I would like to have the information from event populated to the profile, copied to the profile. And we have like, there's a whole flow of the data in Tracardi, so you can validate the event, you can reshape it. So this is when you collect data from the sources that you don't have access to how the data is sent. So you can just transform that data so it fits into your system. For example, in my case, I'm interested in somebody that is visiting my GitHub, and when they start, GitHub can make a API call to Tracardi. This is like a web call, but they will select a lot of data. But I'm only interested in an email. Okay, so I will just reshape the event, and my event will have only email. And there's also event mapping, because Tracardi collects all the data, even if the data is corrupted. It means somebody should send an integer but send some string. So some systems does not allow this, but Tracardi allows to collect everything. But then you can move the data at its equal to indexing the data from one place to another, and then the data will be indexed. So there's like an additional way of storing data. And then we have identification. By default, Tracardi is built this way that when you copy an email, it's treated as like a merging key. So imagine that you have different channels. One channel is mobile app, and the other one is website. When you visit website, the profile is created. But when you use your mobile app, also the profile is created, but it's different. So we have two anonymous profiles, but during the time when the person is interacting with all the with the website and the mobile, they decide that they sign in or deliver an email. So first, the profile, anonymous profile on the mobile channel has an email, then the profile on the website has an email, and then there is this identification point that we do. Okay, email is an identificator. Then we merge those profiles, and we have the whole history on both channels, on the web and on the mobile app. And here we can define like custom identification points. So and it's defined like this. So when the event source is my web page, and there is an event type profile update. Okay, when the phone number equals the phone number that is delivered by the customer, please merge this profile. And this is a way of defining custom identification points, that built-in identification points, which you can use whenever you want. Okay, and
And that's just very, I'm sure you can answer yes, that's very simple logic, like phone numbers match, emails match, but like fuzzy logic on names if you wanted to, or things like that. Could you do that?
yeah, you can in the identification point. This is not very fuzzy logic. This is you can put like any email and phone are the same, or email or phone, but not something. You can put that kind of logic, but the real fuzzy logic would be that there would be like you are not 100% sure if that person is the same person. So we don't do fuzzy logic. Actually, we more strive to uh, have the consistent profile ID moving from channel to channel if possible. Okay. For example, we've implemented something like that. That, for example, you have like 3 different websites, and you say that whenever there is a link that moves the person from one side or one website to the other website, that link has the profile ID. So the profile ID is passed to another website. So we try to keep this profile ID consistent, because this is much better way to be sure that this is the same person. Okay.
That said, though, we've got automations where we can create custom fields, and we could, in theory, create custom IDs. I'm just thinking aloud. I haven't pushed it to sort of use Soundex with surnames and the like, but I'd imagine we could create a custom ID as part of an automation, push that into the ID, and then let
Yep.
the merge
Yes,
take place
yes,
later on.
yes, we can also do that, because after each event we can run automation, and then in that automation we can define some logic how to update the profile that is currently just send this event. So I will show that later. Right now, most of the time in the identification points, we use the data. There's some logic, but not, like probabilistic logic. Okay. But also, well, in the future, this is like very easy to add some probabilistic merging. Yeah. So in here we will have like events, profiles, so all the profiles that we've collected, and also each session within each session we will see all the information. Maybe I can switch to. So I have some random data generated, so it shows probably better. Okay, there are some profiles. So in here we can see that there's like you can have a lot of data, and in the script that is placed on the page automatically gets information about the geolocation, the used language, etc. Okay, and all the additional data can be filled in from the events. Okay, and then when we have all this data, we have an outbound traffic. Outbound traffic allows us to send the collected data real time to some external systems. I have configured the HubSpot connector. So, for example, whenever somebody submits a web form on my page, I would like this to be sent to the HubSpot. In a destination, I defined all the credentials, and I would like this destination to be triggered. This destination is triggered on every event. So I defined what kind of event I'm expecting. I'm expecting an event from submit, and then the data, all the data that is defined in this event is sent to HubSpot. And we also have like, we could have custom mappings, defining how the data should be sent. The mapping is usually done this way. So, for example, if I would like to send only email, I define this JSON saying, okay, I want to an email from the profile, contact, email, and this is main. And I can define whatever structure of that data schema I would like to send to the external system. And we can have like different destinations. And destination can be triggered either on the event or on the profile change. So if the profile changed, I would like to send some data to some external system. So this is kind of orchestration. Okay, and this is the part about collecting data. Now let's go into the automation. Based on each event can trigger an automation. And automation can be either no-code automation. This is no-code automation, but automation can be also a code. So as I mentioned before, you can connect to the stream of data. So I can connect to all the events that are passing through Tracardi, and then I can programmatically do some things, but this is no-code automation. So let me see. Okay, automation that somebody logs into Tracardi. So this is the flow. This is where I get all the event data. I define it that this workflow is triggered when an event from Tracardi login from my Tracardi system event source arrives to the system. So you can define different events and different sources. And then this is the flow. For example, if the property in that event in the traits has email, please add it to the HubSpot. This one is disabled because I'm sending it in the unbound event, but you can also do that in the automation. So please add it, and here you define that I would like to send an email from this event. I can also add a segment. So if somebody logged into Tracardi, so I'm pretty sure this is a Tracardi user, so I'm adding a segment. Here I can check if there is an email in the profile. So if I already collected an email, I do nothing. So this is true. But if it's false, I say, okay, copy this data to the profile, contact, email, main, and this is the source of this data. So I can dynamically in the mapping. I'm not doing this dynamically. I'm just copying the data. But in automation, I can do it dynamically. What means that I can connect. For example, in here, I'm not doing this, but I could use API. For example, I have some external system. I can connect to that system, get the information about the profile that I've collected, like 10 years ago, and just merge it into my profile in Tracardi. So in here, I can enhance profile data, connect to some external system, get the data, can get the data even not related to profile, but let me give you an example. Somebody likes, I don't know, buys. The example I've gave about how Uber could enhance the profile, the customer experience. So, for example, I'm waiting for Uber. So I have this event that comes to Tracardi. So I can connect to the weather service and get the information if there's raining in that location of that profile. Okay, so I can save that in the profile or save that in the history. And then when the Uber is late, I can also, there's another event that says, okay, there's a pickup. Okay, somebody was picked up. If the Uber was late and there was raining, I can send the message to the customer. We are very sorry that the Uber is late. We know that the weather is not good. Maybe you would like to have some discount. So it can all be like real time, and you build it in here in the automation. And we have like a lot of things in the automation. One is that you can enhance the profiles. The other is you can, for example, put some widgets on the website, so like pop-ups, change the website. So, for example, I'm using the chatbot widget. This is this thing. Maybe I go to Tracardi.
I think what's very interesting about the plugins also is that they're not that difficult to create. I'm not a Python programmer from way back. I've just started recently getting into it, and that's what Tracardi's written in. But I've managed to contribute 2 or 3 so far, just for special use cases that I've had. And it's not hard because it's open source. There's a real pathway that you can just follow and get those a pull request into the system and get your plugins published. But
yeah, I will show the documentation for the plugins. So actually, everybody, and a lot of plugins were written by the community. Tutorial, plugin tutorials. Okay, so basically, this is the code of a plugin. A few lines of code, and you just fill it. And this is the simplest actually plugin that returns some data. So this is very easy to write, and everybody can write it. But we've been talking about injecting the widgets. So in here you can see on my web page I'm injecting this widget. Okay, I do not want it to edit the page to add some additional integration. I did it in Tracardi. Actually, maybe we can even see this. So chat on every page. Yes. So what it does, this is the chatbot widget. I said this is some credentials for that chatbot widget. So it injects that, so I see it on the page. But I also has like check if there are consents given. I require a consent to be identified. If not, then I show additional consent bar widget that just pops up on the page. So I can dynamically change the web page, and this is how it's done in here. So I'm just injecting some things, and this can be also done like you analyze the whole customer journey, saying that at this point of the customer journey you would need customer email because you don't have it. So it could be like an additional pop-up. We would like to contact you, please leave an email, for example. So this part is has a lot of features and can do a lot of things.
Just before we go on too far, and how can you see use case for any of this? Like, is this something?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just thinking through. It's always different context, right? I get, you're talking about the context to like a company that might be an e-commerce company, pure e-commerce, but classic business, right? I run a
You sell widgets.
Well, so widgets, or some separate examples of some clients I work with, right? Sell real estate, property management, and finance, right? Now, finance, and you'll sell someone a property, you'll get them a loan. The person who buys the property wants to rent it out, so you manage it. Tenants will inspect it. A tenant will stay. You'll have a plethora of business applications out there to support your customer across multiple platforms, and it's a real problem, because integration, like classic integration, is like everything's like hardwired, right? It's that customer because that customer because you got the external ID, and I feel like what I'm seeing is this is more like it's got a bent towards the ETL space with identity resolution on the top of it. And yeah, so if somebody raises a Yeah.
Let me give you, for example, because the widgets are more like interacting with the customer that you need some data. But the classic example from e-commerce or financial. So, for example, somebody put something into the basket, okay, and then after some time, you would like to check if they really bought something. If not, please message them, okay. So actually, that comes from the website, and this can be managed in here. You can pause and resume. You can pause the workflow, and then after, I don't know, 20 minutes, check if there is an event that somebody bought something. Okay, and then you can message somebody, because you can also message people here. The other thing is from the financial point of view. Somebody bought something, but you just didn't pay actually. Okay, just bought it, but they should pay after 10 days. Okay, so this can also be done like this. Actually, you need two events. One is account payable, and the other is account receivable. So you have account payable. You have this triggered. It waits like, I don't know, 3 days, and after 3 days, it checks if this profile has account receivable. That comes from, actually can come from totally different system. Okay, so it can all integrate the whole processes under one profile, and also automate the behavior, how you would like to manage that customer. So basically everything in here, when you have all the data about the customer coming from different systems, that can be like financial system, that can be from website, that can be from email. Okay, somebody just wrote you, I will not pay. Okay, and if you can somehow recognize this through ChatGPT or whatever, you can also interact about with this. Okay, with the automation. So automation on top of customer data is very, very powerful. We find different use cases that we don't even imagine that people could use it like this.
I think I know my broker. He's I think there's one or two of them in the practice, and they use Salesforce CRM to look after it all. I know that, but they're small enough to keep everything inside their head. But this, once you scale beyond your head, that's where automations and keeping everything together sort of comes into play, because it falls through the cracks. I was just thinking, whilst we're talking about that, but another classic example, the Net Promoter Score. You put the widget up on the page. Tracardi can manage that. Google Tag Manager, when you've come down to 80% of the page, if you haven't voted on it before, put it up. If it's plus 80%, make a recommendation with another widget to go off and give us a recommendation on our Google business page or wherever, or LinkedIn. If it's less than 8 and they're a repeat customer, they could be going into a churn situation, so it could trigger an alert. They're the sorts of scenarios that you can sort of start playing with, I guess, with the automation and having that information in a central location. I guess,
and you can collect the customer how they satisfied with the services, etc. This actually, you build the customer journey. You build the thing that how you collect the data and how you would like to interact with the customers.
And I guess you could build those things out with other platforms, but it really is flexible like that. You can just do what you need to do.
Yeah, I think also you're thinking in terms of a customer. It's a customer action that's creating an event, right? So you've got a JavaScript listening because a client visited a web page.
Oh, it's event driven, 100%.
It's event driven. So
yeah.
but an event could be because what I'm going to do is go to my broker finance system, and I'm going to export all the loans, and I'm going to feed the batch of loans in every night, and you're going to look for a loan status has changed.
Yep.
Or do you know what I mean? Like, it's not necessarily customer things that happen, but you're taking batch files out of systems with data. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It definitely could be a batch file that's loading the events into the system. And we've also got links, so you can click on a link and that can get reflected back into Tracardi, and also just the callbacks.
There are a bunch of systems that they're called CDC. This is capture data change. So you actually can connect to the database, watch for the changes in certain tables, and then through Kafka or wherever it's back into Tracardi, and there you can do automation.
That's interesting.
And there's a lot of open source CDCs, so you can also use open source CDCs.
Like building a profile, right? So I get the profile will have attributes: your first name, last name, telephone number, height, meal preference, shoe size, address. Those are all attributes of an identity. And you referenced the word history, but if I go just carry on the broker analogy and property management, for example, and properties, here is an identity, and here are loans, and the attributes of the loans around that. Each loan is, you might want to capture just, I've got 4 loans. One loan is fixed interest, one loan's this, one loan's that. It's not all the detail. Then I've got properties. I don't know whether it's not. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you see the spiderweb diagram going out like with these attributes, and that's where that sort of fitted in here.
Actually, in a profile you can have like custom attributes and keep it there, but remember that events also deliver information, so they have their own information. When we go to audiences, you will see that I can select the profiles that have 4 loans with me, and the amount of loan is bigger than something. Okay, so they just automatically go into that audience, because event also delivers data, and this data can be structured the way you want. But I also mentioned that Tracardi, it's not fully in that type of systems. Composable CDP is a system that actually sits on any data model that you have in your database. So it could actually get the data from any table you have in your ecosystem, and get this information, either put it into profile or not, but make decisions based on that. So we have like 2 things. One thing is that you can have data in events, and that data can be used to segment the profiles. But also you have like a whole model built in your company, and a composable CDP should be able to reach for that data, or even update that data if necessary.
And I guess I'm still getting my head around some of the detail of this. Now, we say you have a database. Well, we have a database over here, Salesforce, with the customer and the sales. We have another database over here, which is loans. 2 completely different systems, right? And it's really, you want to go, okay, resolve these 2 identities, and then give me a consolidated view of, and I guess that's the bit that I'm not sure about. When I look at when I look inside of here, if I say your profile, how many loans is it? How many loans you got? 4, but I'm not saying, can you go give me the loan which is a fixed interest loan? One of them is a fixed interest loan. Is it that level of detail down, or is it just at a profile level? It's just building up a profile.
If you send that information in the event, you will have that information in Tracardi. So whenever somebody gets a loan, and when you send like a huge object with all the details about the loan, you will have it in Tracardi.
The backend store is Elasticsearch, which effectively is a NoSQL. It's a document, but essentially it's a NoSQL database. So in each document, you can structure that data however you like. Think of a JSON object, then it can contain arrays, it can contain hashes of arrays, it can contain whatever you want, objects of objects, lists of objects. So it's about how you orchestrate that. It sort of comes with it's a 2-edged sword, because to be performant, you've got to make sure that you've got a consistency across. But that's just architecting your data and making sure you got it right. But if you do need lists of loans, and each of those loans have got different attributes, then you've got a list of objects, and each of those objects represents, say, a loan, and there's a structure to that. So just being mindful about how you approach that would solve that scenario.
and then list of loans will reflect the history of a loan, because you pull a batch file, and again, you want to resist the temptation to take a backup copy of every system you've got and throw it all in.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
you
actually,
only have what you need. Yeah.
Yeah. But actually, this could be also somehow solved, because when you think about the composable CDP, actually, if you do some mapping, okay, between the events that are in Tracardi with the events that are in some other systems, then actually you could have like automatically transfer the data you need, okay, to Tracardi. And also there are like federated queries, because you have automation. You could use that automation and just get the data from different systems and then update the profile, okay, also, or make some actions.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, and now the last part is audience. So once we've collected all the we never end up collecting data, but once we have like a huge amount of data, we can create audiences, this like segments. So my segment 1, and then I can filter the profiles by the attributes. So for example, some gender, I would like to have male, okay, all the male people who, for example, I don't know, and it's up to you actually what kind of events you have. But then, okay,
They're wearing pink shirts.
payable overdue. Okay, payable have an event payable overdue, that the count of that is, I don't know, we name it as count is bigger than 1. Okay, and then you will have all the profiles in that audience. Give it some names, seg1. Okay, and once we have the segment, we can use activations. Right now we have only technical activation, because Tracardi is most of the time just integrated with some other systems. So activation, you select the audience, and you said what type of activation you would like to have. You can send this segment to some API, and that API will do something, I don't know, send emails, etc. You can also publish it to Kafka, but we will be adding more like marketing-like related activations that have like send it to Facebook for I don't know, lookalike audiences, or remarket this segment in Google, etc. This is another extension point where you put what would you like to do with that group of customers. Here you define how you would like to do that. This is like the technical stuff. How you would like to do that. So this is how activations work. First, you just select an audience, define an audience, and this is a dynamic audience. It means that when, for example, if I defined an audience that is based on time, saying, okay, somebody who visited me not later than 10 minutes ago. So if 10 minutes past, that profile is out of that segment. So it's all real time.
And then you take that segment and you will consume it in some other platform somewhere.
Yes. Yes.
Else, take an action.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So in my point, for example, when I use this, I usually, for example, send it to HubSpot, create a list of customers, and I create a campaign. Okay, saying, okay, I would like to have a campaign for that segment, and then I do the campaign. And basically, this is it. There are also technical things that are related to this, but this is the main features of Tracardi.
You've done an amazing job. Like, it's very impressive. Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to think, the business how business could use that, and make sure that when somebody decides to use that, they can integrate it into the system. Because I think this is the biggest, the hardest part. Okay, and that's why what I told you, that this is an API first. Whatever I did here, it has an API. So whenever I go to this Tracardi API URL, you can see that this is all can be done through the API. So I should be able to, count profiles, number of profiles, or find duplicate profiles, etc. Everything programmatically can be done. So this is probably the most important thing, because most of the commercial things will not have API for everything. We have API for everything we can do in Tracardi.
And it's sitting on Elasticsearch, so your queries just run through Elasticsearch, and you can.
Yeah, so because you have to think about, this is also a thing. It collects data, so it's a subject of analytics. Okay, so you can run analytics on top of that data. So you can use, or you can either outbound the data to some other analytical system, or you can use Kibana, which is a part of Elasticsearch, where you can visualize all the data. Yeah, Kibana is quite a nice system for analytics, and you can also move that data to some other analytical system. And with the stream, this is connecting to the stream. It is so easy that actually any analytical tool can be used.
It's a bit like an onion. Yeah, you keep layer after layer after layer. I feel like it's a Easter egg tree. So I keep finding stuff in there that sort of scratches an itch. Did that help, Anne?
Oh, very much so. Like, it's like I said, sometimes when you're so deep in the weeds, like you don't underestimate how little other people know, right? And the thing that I think I'm pretty smart and do a lot of technical stuff, right? But it's just not an area that I know. And certainly open my eyes, I start to see, what does the word CDP mean? It's not as terrifying as it is. You talk to an average, medium-sized business, 100, 200 people in the business, don't have a lot of technical resources, and you say we're gonna implement a composable CDP, which the API first. He's gonna go, yeah, what?
Yeah, this is
so
the technical part. Yeah, they don't understand.
The question is, do you have Google Tag Manager set up, and can we have access to it, and we'll make some magic happen? Like, that's almost the approach that you need to have, because once you've got access to dropping content into the page, you can start doing things. The closer you can get to the back end, and the richer the data becomes, and what you can do with it. But you can always start with what's easy. And even if it's just getting consents, just getting star ratings on pages. How well did we do this page? Did we stuff up? We got it right. That feedback is gold.
And actually, what I've noticed, how people usually start using this, because you can spend like a day or two, and you start collecting like enormous amount of data. You just put some JavaScript on your page, put some events, and then after one day you see everything. Okay, and then you start thinking what I can do with that. Okay, if I have information about, as you said, okay, that somebody saw this page, then made this loan, and then they, I don't know, complained or not, and then they paid, didn't pay, etc. Okay, and I have all that information. What can I do with that? And they start thinking, okay, maybe I can put some automation on top of this, but maybe I have people with machine learning skills, and they will extract some information from that, because there's like sequence of the things. And people usually just start with little, just a few events, okay, and then they just pour this event, this event, this event, and they just start getting more and more data, and then because they see additional use cases.
Mm-hmm. It's always the same thing, right? It's all the stuff is wonderful, but unless you can make it actionable in the hands of a salesperson,
Yes.
like that's where the value is,
Yeah.
And so it's surfacing that up to make it actually
Yeah.
and easy and that can be used by an average person.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, yeah. I think, being API first, just like you say, like anybody who has dabbled anywhere in any of the kinds of a little bit of integration or a little bit of data capture somewhere else will instantly have a data source. It's easy to just start throwing stuff in, right?
Yeah.
We have a lot of stuff around Make, a lot of lead gen going through. 40. Well, so when I say we, like one of my clients, like 40,000 registrations going into Zoom campaigns and attendance and follow-on actions and
I would like to also point one thing that is usually not noticed. When you use a commercial CDP, like on a SaaS, you will be limited to the number of events and profiles you can store because it starts costing a huge amount of money. With Tracardi, you don't have this limit. One of my first customers now have 1.5 billion events, and they do not pay for that $1. They just pay monthly fee, and that's it. So this is like a huge cost advantage.
And just so I understand, that's because there's like a river of data flowing through, and you're just taking out the points, and the river flows on. Is that right? You're not. Yeah.
No.
No.
You can store this, but this is installed on premises.
Okay.
This is just
Yeah.
up to you how much data you would like to store. And you don't have to, from my point of view, this is no cost for me if you store on 100 events or billion events.
Yeah. And I think that's a very, very important distinction, right? The problem with the SaaS model and the subscription model is that everything is either user-based or usage-based. You're penalized either way. And when it becomes user-based, it's always going to be $10 or $30. And this incremental per user cost of things just starts to rocket. You work out your seat cost goes through the roof.
I can tell you what kind of customers usually reach me. Those are usually SaaS companies that they say, okay, we would like to have a CDP, okay, but we cannot afford to have a CDP like SaaS CDP because this will kill us. We have more than 5,000 customers and each has like millions of events. So this is impossible for me to just buy a CDP in a SaaS. I would like to have it locally. I will not even use your graphical user interface. I will use it just, to I don't know, configure it, etc. I will use your API, and I will write some part of my system that will connect to that API, and we will extend our system and have CDP. So this is like, for me, this is the biggest part of the customers, and they come and for the each customer, we call them tenants, they pay like $10 for a billion of events. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's so interesting, the different use cases, right? Because I sit in the world of, okay, you're running a business, you look at your customer journeys, your customer life cycles coming through, you'll have audiences who will identify themselves to you, which is where this really kicks in, right? And then you start an engagement process, prospects to leads, being marketing qualified, until they become sales qualified, create opportunities, you work on opportunities through to a sale. From a sale, you need to go through to delivery. You want to deliver the product, you got to collect the money, you got to onboard the customer, you got to deliver the product, and you've got to maintain them. You're going through retention, You want to retain customers, bring them back in an upsell. You want to lift them up to be promoters, NPS. You want to monitor for lapsing clients. You want to see people that are clients that are lapsing. You want to be able to reactivate, and you also need to monitor the ones that you've lost and gracefully retire them. Put people on exclusion lists. It's like going all the way through. So it's looking at generally it's about creating a list and putting it in order. So as a salesperson, find somebody who is losing interest in a product, who hasn't reached out for support, or we've seen something dropping down. And if you give me a list of 300, well, which one do I call first? And then be able to take some kind of action so that client comes off the list to do the next one, whatever that is. And you see that all over the place, and that can happen in multiple different systems. You could see clients who are raising service requests, which means that in your CRM, you need to be surfacing that up and just, changing a flag, a little help icon, some things like that, right? Just make it,
Yeah, and this is actually the power of CDP, because it just goes through the whole process of your customer acquisition, and then you can see the whole journey when they buy, when they stop buying. You may even know why they stop buying, and that's all in one place.
But we make some assumptions, right? That companies know and understand their customer interactions, or the interactions that are coming through in the first place. It's a bit like Salesforce. Salesforce is a platform that hosts your business processes. When people say, it's too complicated, it's because their processes are too complicated. They've been implemented inside of Salesforce. So I'm wondering, people probably don't even know how their clients are engaging with them. You've got websites over here and stuff is happening, right? To even be able to articulate the requirements of what they need to start to track it, to put it into place. There's quite a lot of maturity in the business that's going to happen there, I think.
I think having a prescriptive journey that you put your customer on, that journey can't last for more than 48 hours or 24. Certainly can't run for 30 days or whatever, because things are so fluid.
I'll give you a shameless plug, right? I've just written a book on this called Move Your Customer, right? And it's actually about CRM as a strategy, not a platform, and think about it in terms of a customer lifecycle. We go through in detail, and it's aimed at business owners. Just understand what you're talking about here. Give you the language to talk about it to someone else who's going to maybe implement it for you. And that's
Where's my coffee?
There's exciting things happening. It's
cool.
exciting things coming. Don't you worry.
Awesome.
Coming. Cool.
We could go on and on.
Yep.
We've already done a good hour on this. We try and do this every couple of weeks, just an office hours. Sometimes it's just me and Risto. We just chat about stuff. Sometimes there's more of us here, and we just talk about what needs to be talked about. I don't know if I've given you an invite for the Slack group, but I'll make sure that you've got an invite in, just so that you can be a part of that.